Hey guys, Mina here. Just jumping in here to let you guys know we have something so exciting. It's a free masterclass and we created it just for you right now.
We keep getting questions. How do I pivot and sell right now? The number one question we get is, how can I make more sales? And so we want to teach you how to create a plan to boost your sales and grow your business right now. So if you want this totally free masterclass that we've created for product-based businesses, head over to pivotandsell.com. We'll see you in there.
Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my fabulous co-host, Minna Hey, Minna.
Hey, Jacqueline.
So we are really excited to bring you a very special episode today. Today, we're going to talk about how to go from maker to boss with 3 easy steps.
Right. So there's a lot of makers out there that are part of our audience, and there's a lot of bosses out there. So we're going to be speaking to all of you to see how you can move from maker to boss in these 3 easy steps.
Right. So, as you're thinking to yourself, do you associate yourself as a maker? A lot of people that start product-based businesses are people that are making it themselves. And there's some people that associate themselves as makers and only makers. And then there's those of you that have thought, I am a maker, but I really want to grow and scale my business. And so we're going to help you out in this podcast with 3 super easy steps for you to think through this and then think, what's your next step to take?
Right. So that brings us to step number 1, Jacqueline, and you kind of touched on that a little bit. And that is just deciding business or hobby.
So that's a question for you guys. Are you a business or are you a hobby? Are you a hobby that you want to turn into a business? Are you someone who's like, you know what, I like doing this, but I really don't want the pressure of keeping up, starting an email list, building a website, growing a business, or ever wanting to hire. I just like to do it. And yeah, sure, I'll get paid every so often. So we're not with you guys right now in person to ask you this question, but we want you guys to make that decision. Is this something that started as a hobby that you want to grow into a business and you see growth and you see amazing things that can come with it? Or is it a hobby where you see the amazing things that you get to make an exchange between, money and the products that you're making, but that you don't really want the responsibility that comes with a business?
Right. And I think that's a level of commitment that varies, right? So if you are just a hobby, then there's a level of commitment that is based on what you decide, maybe day to day, right? It's not forecasting or it's not thinking about what you need to do. Whereas if you are a business, it just feels very different. It's much more of a different commitment. You're thinking a little bit bigger to know what could be possible for you in the realm of you being a business and bringing in that revenue and actually approaching it as a business owner.
Okay, so what we're going to do is hobby, that's okay. Keep listening because maybe one day you'll wake up and say that this is where you want to go. But we're going to take this into because we're talking about maker to boss, right? So the boss of your own business. So we're going to keep moving into this. And if you want to be a business, what do you need to do? So one of the first things absolutely that you need to do is you need to commit to your business, to make a decision that this is a business and I'm going to grow with it and commit to it and do the things that I know need to get done. Or maybe you don't know yet, but that's why you're here listening to this podcast to figure out what you need to do to grow your business.
Right. And deciding that, literally sitting down and deciding that instead of, maybe just nonchalantly living life and you happen to make money, right?
Right. So another thing that you have to do as a business in this day and world and time is that you need to show up for customers and you need to show up on social. So you're going to want to pick a platform that you're going to lean into. A lot of our, businesses work on Instagram. Some of you feel that Facebook is better. It depends on where you fully feel like you want to be. And you need to show up on that social media platform as a business, not as a personal person on Instagram that you're just showing up, not as like a half between this and that, but actually show up on social media as a business.
Right. And that's because your presence is different, right? You've committed to your business and now you're showing up as your business where your customers are. And then you're kind of getting the ball rolling even more. You're growing your email list, you're making plans and actions. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more in the next steps, but you're really moving forward with that presence and mind of being a business instead of a hobby.
Right. So you're going to have foresight for your business, because a boss visions for a business. A boss thinks this is where we are and this is where we're going to grow to. And they are ultimately, eventually, as you hire people, the leader, they're the visionary, they're the person that says this is where we're going to go. Or they set the idea of what their financial goals are, what their sales goals are, what their growth goals are. So that takes us to step number 2, which is that we want you to set a revenue goal for a year.
Right. And this is a big differentiator between someone who's like an employee, for example, someone who's a hobbyist, and someone who's an entrepreneur with their own business. They are the ones that are vision casting for even a revenue goal, right? So what is your revenue goal that when you think about your business, what would you love to make in the next year? The year that's in front of you that you're trying to create short-term and long-term goals for. What is your overall revenue goal that you're looking for? And I think for a lot of people, we've heard, anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000. There's always those easy marks to look at as far as projections of businesses.
Yeah. So right now it's the beginning of the third quarter of 2020. And you guys can set a goal for where you want to hit at the end of 2020. Now, 2020 has thrown more curveballs than we care to talk about.
So many.
So whatever your goal was back in 2019, which was like 55 years ago, those things have shifted and changed. And hopefully you guys, as you've gone with us on this journey with us, like you've pivoted and you've figured out ways to continue to sell and to continue to show up. So you can make a goal for the next 6 months to round out the 2020 calendar year, or you can make a goal for yourself, like dream bigger and think a year from now, at the end of Q2 of 2021, again, we have no idea what's coming, but we can still dream it and we can still take action on it. Think, where do I want to be a year from now and how do I get there?
Right. And for those of you that have studied, taught under us, been around us, you know that we like to break it up into 3 different categories. And as a business owner, you're thinking about your systems, your visibility, and your sales. So how are you going to get to that revenue goal thinking about those 3 areas, right? How are you going to hit those goals? Do you need to do more of something if you want to, show up for a visibility goal, like we had mentioned, email and social media? What if there's some goals that are attached to those? Is it a systems goal where you want to build out your own website to get more sales? So you're really thinking about, how is this going to happen? What do you need to do to get to that revenue goal?
Right. So as product-based businesses, as product entrepreneurs, like Minna says, like we teach around this idea and this framework of system, visibility, and sales. So let's just quickly talk about that a little bit more in depth in case we have a lot of new listeners. So systems tends to be the internal workings of your business, right? If you don't have systems in place, what's up? Like, how is it going to continue? So a lot of times we talk about systems as being like your pricing and your margins. How do you track your inventory, your shipping? What is the system that you take in order to make your product in a cost efficient and time efficient way? Systems is sort of that back end way that if you were to bring someone on, you could train them against something that they could replace you because you have a system in place. And that's on so many levels of your business.
Yeah. And I really think of it too, like when we talk about systems, it's really for product-based businesses. Like, where could they potentially lose money, but where could they streamline and optimize too, right? So when we're thinking about photos, for example, we always talk about photos being systemized and that you take photos because photos are what's going to sell your products. And if you don't have a library of those assets in your system and you don't have something set up for that, then it's potentially that might be what's holding you back from selling more of your products, right? even with pricing. Do you have a margin? Can you sell wholesale? Can you sell retail? Direct to customer only. So really thinking about those things. And then as Jacqueline said, even if it's inventory or shipping, those are things that product-based business owners have to think about that their service counterparts don't even have to worry about. They don't have to worry about, manually logging inventory and knowing what's on the shelf and how much shelf life it has to live there and what the production time is going to be to refill those shelves. So really thinking about that, because those are the things that businesses really have to think about, especially when they have a physical product.
Right. And then systems is definitely built into all the rest that we're going to talk about, but these are sort of ones that we know are kind of pivotal, that are huge gaping holes in people's businesses that lose them money, or even if they're making money, it's like draining out the bottom. So then the next part is visibility. So visibility is the idea of how do people know about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right away, I'll bet a lot of people think visibility is Instagram. Well, if you signed up we have an Instagram course, we just did our Instagram workshop, the percentage of people that see you in your stories is about 4%. The percentage of people that see you in your feed is about 14%. So what does that mean? That means that you're working on it, and that could be a big number, but your visibility needs to have greater reach than just Instagram, right? Instagram is a way to kind of seal the deal, but your visibility is also in their inbox, getting emails. Your visibility is getting onto other people's platforms, working with affiliates or influencers, being in retail shops. It's being visible in front of other people's audiences or other people's customers when it comes to product.
Right. I find it easier to think about what I think of it as filling my pipeline. And so sales, for instance, we're going to go into sales into a little bit here, but sales are actual money, the money that's going into your pocket. But visibility is filling your pipeline with potential money. How are people figuring out, that you even exist? How are they becoming aware of your brand, and how are you connecting with them on a visibility plan? And how can you broaden that out, because you're stuffing your pipeline. So potentially you could make a whole bunch of money, but it's really letting people know that you're there and showing up and committing to being visible to them.
Right. And visibility is outbound marketing, inbound marketing. It's just, I bet you guys have seen brands like this where like they are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So how are they everywhere? Why are you seeing them everywhere? And a lot of times, Minna and I, not a lot of times, pretty much the entire time, we talk about organic marketing. So typically you will never hear us talk to you about ads like on Facebook or Google. That's not the realm that we're in right now. So we really talk about how you can grow, because you guys are small businesses. Like, you need a budget to market well. You need a budget for paid advertising. So what we want to do is we want to help you grow your businesses initially. Sure, you might be paying a little bit on Etsy for traffic. Sure, you might be paying a little bit on Amazon, but we're not telling you to run these major ad campaigns that bigger brands are doing on Facebook, for example, because as a small business, you need to keep your money, your cash flow going so you could make the next products, you could pay yourself, so you can just keep reinvesting. And so that's the visibility play for us, is that we want you to figure out how you can do this organically.
Right. And it does take a plan. It definitely takes like a plan and a budget, which is part of it all, which moves us to our next part of it. And that is the sales that we were talking about. Remember, systems, visibility, and sales. And this is really how we like to teach our students, is really within this framework, because you guys need to make money. You need to make sales in order to make money. And how are you going to make those sales? And sales is really about the conversion, right? You're getting that money into your pocket, and they're voting with their dollar bills, as we like to call it. So sales is really an important one, because sometimes people only look at their sales, but it's really broader than that, because you can be saving money and you need to be bringing in potential money at the same time.
Right. So this step was still step 2, where we're setting that you're going to set a revenue goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that revenue goal, while yes, you're like, ladies, you're talking about systems, you're talking about visibility. Well, systems is going to save you money, right? So if you have a revenue goal, if you don't have this money draining at the bottom, it's going to keep money in your account. Visibility is going to be that play again to help contribute to more sales. And then sales, what I want you to think about is, where are you currently selling? Are you on Etsy? Are you on your own website? Are you selling at farmers markets? Where are you selling? And is that platform in which you're selling on going to make you or hit these revenue goals that you have planned for yourself? Now, I hope these revenue goals that you're planning for yourself are bigger than what you imagine. So
Mm-hmm.
you might be setting your revenue goal based on whatever you're making today. Maybe you're making $5,000 a month. So you might be like, well, 5 times the next 6 months. Okay, I want to make $30,000 in the next 6 months. I want you guys to kick that up. Now, I know it's 2020, but we're teaching you something here that you're going to carry this on into the future when this 2020 doesn't exist ananymore. It's in the
Uh-huh.
hindsight. So your goal is to stretch that goal. If you're making 5, can you add 20% to your revenue goal? Can you try and make more than what you had planned? Can you try and kick it up to 7,000, 8,000 a month? And if you can do that, can you do it based on the one platform that you're selling on? Or do you need to add another platform? Do you need to be more visible and in front of other people's customers, in front of other people's audiences?
Right. So that was setting a revenue goal, right? Setting a revenue when you're a business, a product business, it's really about so many things. It's most people, like Jacqueline said, it's about bringing in those sales, but it's also where can you save money? Where can you plant seeds to make future money? That's the visibility, right? And where can you make the actual money? Is it more platforms, as she had mentioned? So really think about your revenue goal as it stands with the systems, visibility, and sales.
So then step number 3
Yes.
is
Step number 3 is now take that overall goal. Let's say it was 6 figures. You want to make 100,000, within 2020. So you need to plan out the next 90 days as it applies to your business. So I want to say this again. You need to plan out the next 90 days as it applies to your business, because this is the difference between a business and a hobbyist, is that a business definitely takes a goal, breaks it down, and makes the things happen in order to reach it, right? A hobbyist goes by through day to day, and it's more like a you do you type of situation. That's great that I'm making this money, or that's great that I'm doing what I need to do. There's the level of commitment is different, but also the goals are very small compared, right? So plan out the next 90 days, and that is really the vision casting of a business owner that makes it so special. Of I can do this, I can see out the next 90 days, and then I can break it down even further to 60 to 30 to weekly to daily.
so $100,000 over the course of 12 months is $8,333 a month. So depending on where you are in your revenue plan for your business, where are you according to that? If you want to be a 6-figure business, we have, our masterminders, those of them in the top, a lot of our students, they're hitting 6 figures a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Multiple 6 figures a month.
Right.
So this is the range that we're talking to you right now. We have those of you that are starting, and we have those of you that are about to, crush 3 million or 6 million or whatever it is this year. But if we were to plan out, we're going to dream big for you guys here. So if we were to plan out the next 6 months, you guys on average should be making $16,666 to hit $100,000 in the next 6 months, which means whatever you've done before then, you would add it to that. So let's play off that like 16,666. So many sixes. What can you make that every month over the next 6 months? Or do you know your busy months and your slow months? So you guys, we are getting to the most happy time of the year and the busiest time of the year for product-based businesses, which is the holidays, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, all of that is coming. And we're going to help you plan and prepare for this earlier in the year this year, since things seem so, crazy. But you can project, what your sales are going to look like around holidays. You know how busy you get. Can you 2x that? And then maybe the summer is slower for you. Maybe back to school is or it isn't busy for you. At that point, you might decide like, well, maybe I make about $10,000 a month over the next 2 months, but I really kick it into gear and I make $20,000 a month in my busy month. So that's something for you guys to think about.
Right. And it's easier to, so your mind as a business owner should be able to know what your quarterly goal is, what your annual goal is, and then also your monthly goal, right? Sometimes it's hard to always keep the same amount, like, oh, I want to make $8,333 this month. But like what Jacqueline said, if you shift your mind and you're like, but really, I can't make that this month because I know May is is really slow. I know it will pick back up in July, let's say, right? And then instead you're thinking about 8,333 times 3, whatever that quarterly is.
26-ish?
Yeah, 26-ish, 25.
Times 3.
Yeah.
Good, you keep
right,
talking.
25, because you know what? It's 100,000 divided by 4.
24,999. We're really good at math sometimes.
So if you know I need to make 25,000 for this quarter
per quarter,
but per quarter, but you know that, let's say July is going to be the month that you instead make 12,000, it's easier for you to think, okay, I know that this is a slower month for me, but I need to really put my eggs into the July basket when there's Amazon Prime Day, not this year, but you get the idea. Like I could have a Christmas in July sale, or you're just really, really working your calendar to know, okay, that's my big goals month, and this is my slower month.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And so these are the things, and actually, if you're listening to this in real time, we're kind of going to go over this in our summer workshop series. And actually coming right after this, the next one is our email promotion. So we're going to teach you how to send emails and reflect what's happening in the calendar. So that's just a super side note. If you haven't done it already, it's our summer workshop series that I think would really apply to this particular point. But the idea is you cannot do 2x every month. It's just, like some months are better than others, but we want you, the thing that's the difference between the maker, that someone who's reactive or passive to this, and somebody who is a boss of their product-based business, is that you're creating strategy and you're creating plans, and you're, whether you're new and you have no data, or you've been in doing this a little bit and you have the data of the months before, you've got the data of the years before, you have something to plan against. Minna knows that Little Labels really kicks it up before the summer for camp in normal years, and in August for back to school.
Yes. And I want to bring it to the example of the maker too, because Little Labels, I already know what the busy seasons are, but I'm not making anything. I'm manufacturing, right? And this episode is from maker to boss. But we work with a lot of people in the top mastermind that they make things with their hands.
And they're making millions of dollars.
Yes. And they have a team under them who takes their vision, their designs, and helps them make more of the things that they're making, whether it's jewelry, pottery, whatever it is, they're makers, right? So I want to make sure that you guys know that just because you're a maker does not mean that you have to only do small batch, for example, right? Or that you only can have goals that are a certain amount because you have to be the one that physically makes it. That is not the case at all. You can think as big as you'll allow yourself to think, and that there's makers that we work with pretty much every single day at this point that are making multiple 7 figures from making physical products with hands that are making them.
Does it mean that they're making $1 million worth of their product with their own 2 hands? No, it means that they've hired people that they have trained. This is, years into their business. But when I say years, like a couple of years, like they were able to scale and grow, which we have our episode Scaling Handmade, which kind of talks about this. But they were able to train people how to still hand make and be makers of their products. And does it mean that they never get to enjoy making again? No, it means that they get to create. Maybe they're creating the first of something. They're creating the new something. They're jumping in when they feel like it, but they don't have to keep up with the production and the demand. So I want you guys to release that feeling of that you have to do it all in order to continue to be the maker and a business, that you can start your business on how you want to start it, create how you want to create it, and then with the goal that you will make your first hire and then maybe your 10th hire and then onward from there.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times when you approach business books or business teachings, right, they have 2 sides of a coin. There's the visionary and then there's the implementer, right? We heard this in Rocket Fuel. There's 2 sides of a boss, right? Implementer, visionary. And really the CEO should be the visionary, and the implementer is the one who helps the CEO obtain that vision. But the thing that when we talk to makers, for example, is that they automatically identify with the implementer because they feel like making is making. But making is also making visions, right? You become the CEO that makes the vision that ultimately gets implemented in your business, right? Being a maker doesn't mean that you cannot be a boss. So
say that again, please, for the people in the back.
making means that you also make the visions. It doesn't mean that you only are making with your hands. I think it was something like that.
Something like that. And if the people in the back could tell us what we said, that'd be cool.
Yes. So we're recording this live on Facebook at the same time, but it is like we meet a lot of makers that automatically think that making is implementing and that they need to make the things. But making as a boss is also making the vision, the foresight, the business plans, and making that for the business. And you can be a maker and still be a boss.
And when you are the boss of your business, when you are the CEO of your business, when you are running a business, you have so many hats to wear. You have financials, you have marketing, visibility, you have sales calls, you have things that you're working with wholesale, you're thinking about getting on other platforms and identifying, is this right for my business? You're saying these are the systems that aren't working and they need to get overhauled. There's so many things. You're making them. Like we have a student that last year made like $75,000 in the entire year. And then this year made $75,000 in 1 month. And she made it all herself.
Yes.
I don't know that she slept. She had an amazing month.
Well, she didn't have kids.
Well, yeah. So she's got plenty of time.
It is a lot.
But she had to quickly jump into this, right? Like she struck fire and she had to do it, right? But what she's thinking about now is like, okay, great. I know this product works. Holy moly, I have to keep up with it. I cannot run my business and I don't know, exist and live and make this much product in a month. So now she's making her first hire. So this is where you guys start to grow it. Or you've hired 2 people and you've decided, you know what? Now I need someone in my inbox and sales calls. Now I need somebody to, I don't know, create a marketing plan for me. Now I need someone to write my copy. Now, whatever it is, you guys will continue to add to your team as things start to shake out.
Yeah. And I think there's a few people that we meet along our journey, Jacqueline and myself as coaches, that we hear that, right? We hear, but I'm not a business person, right? And they use that as a block for themselves. But I have to tell you guys, as we're talking about, you need a budget, you need a plan, you need to do this. It is amazing, like to be a business person and because oftentimes when we see our makers and our handmade businesses and they almost feel like they shouldn't step into being a business person. But it is truly amazing to see what they're capable of. And oftentimes they're multi-passionate, just like the rest of us. So just because you're a maker and you identify with being a maker doesn't mean that you can't add to those skill sets and love being a business owner, and be passionate about that as well. Because all this stuff, though it does sound like a lot of commitment, which it is, it's still also very, very amazing.
So speaking of business, Minna has her MBA. I do not. I have my bachelor's in fine arts. But I had like an entrepreneurial spirit and, but I always used to think if I had gone to a different school and I minored in business, or I never actually thought about getting my master's in business, but I was like, if I minored in it, or maybe if I went back to school and got something in business, I would be a business owner. I would be the right kind of business owner. I would know more. I would understand I don't know, taxes and when they are telling.
I don't understand any of. You saw me do math earlier,
right? Says, good God, and she has her MBA. She's still writing her account and asking questions.
Division.
Not only that, being a business owner is like, you guys, things are changing all the time. Remember, that new thing called TikTok? It's something that we're going to be teaching ourselves about because things are constantly changing and being added to being a business owner. But you can learn as you go. You grow and you continue to learn. You figure things out when you need to figure it out. Or if you don't want to figure it out, like QuickBooks, then you hire somebody when you get there to do it the right way for you. So I think that fear of being a business owner, I remember thinking I swear to God, it was like up until 5 years ago, I was like, and I was 10 years into business and I was like, I'm not a business person. I said this to a male client who I was charging, he was paying $10,000 a month ongoing for multiple years. Okay. And it was a guy. And I go, I'm just not that great at business. I don't know why I said this to him. And he goes, are you kidding me? And then I was like, oh, I just said this to somebody who's paying me the most that anyone's ever paid me. But he was like, yeah, you're good at business. It's like, that's why I hired you, like the way that I think about business. And yeah, maybe I'm not coming at it from this, one direction because I'm not consulting him on business, but on being an entrepreneur and growing a business. Absolutely. And then I was like, I got to get my mindset in check. And I think that's something for you guys too. I think we're always going to battle mindset stuff. We're always going to battle, like, if I went to college or if I got my MBA or if I did this, but you're the perfect person for your business at this time. And you're going to learn exactly what your business needs, because even though Minna got her MBA, I mean, you know a lot, but how much of that what do you put from your MBA into our business every day?
I don't know, 1 or 2%, I would say. I'm serious too.
That's why it's so great.
So, and the thing is, I want to really bring this home, because I was
going to put the emphasis on the right place.
Yeah, emphasis on the syllable. Okay. So when a man walks into an interview, if he has like 40% of the skill sets, he'll be like, yeah, I'm perfect for the job. When a woman walks into a job interview, she's like, oh, I only have 70% of this skill set. I need to reach that other 30% before I'm perfect for the job. You guys, you own your own businesses. You are 150% perfect for running your business.
That's how good you are at math. You went to 150%.
Yes. You guys are 150% perfect for selling your product, for talking about it, for building your business, for learning what you need to learn, as you need to learn it. And literally there is no one out there better than you. And on top of it, even if there was somebody who came to you and said, oh, I'm perfect for the job, they would never even be as good as you are at your product.
And let me back that up with saying, because it's your business and your business needs to fit the life that you want your business to fit. So someone could come to you and say, yeah, I want your business, but you're going to have to work, 100 hours a week and never see your kids and be traveling everywhere. And you can decide whether that's for you or not, but you guys have control of your business. So if you decide that you're going to work 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week and hit whatever revenue goal you want to hit and hire whoever you want to hire, whether it's one person, 10 people, no people, but replace your full-time income, that is perfect for you. So probably the end of this podcast is the idea of a lot of it is a mindset shift for you to understand that you are the perfect person and that you have all these opportunities to learn. You're listening to a podcast. Our podcasts are 100% free. You have the ability to Google things, YouTube. There's courses online. We have courses. There's so many different things that you can do to learn the things you need to learn to get you to your goal and to transition you from being a maker to the boss of your own company.
Yes. And I think that's the perfect way to end it. So thank you everybody for listening in, and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already.
Thank you.
So one last thing before you go, we created this podcast as a reminder that you are not alone and that growing a product-based business is not easy, and we want to help you through it. So thank you so much for listening, and we truly appreciate it.
And we want to give a special shout out to those of you that have left us a review. Thank you so much. We read every single one of them, including this one from Jessica from Bella Vita Candles. She says, the 3 C's are working. Hey, Jacqueline and Minna, I've been binging since I found you on the Simple Pin podcast, and I bought a year of content. And OMG, how insanely helpful this is. I finally have a map, and thank you a million times. #forever fan. And she says, thanks, ladies. So thank you so much, Jessica. We love reading these, and these really help us reach more people and help more small businesses grow, which is our mission on the podcast. So thank you. Hey guys, wait, before you go, we want to remind you that we've created this incredible masterclass. It is totally free. It is our Pivot and Sell masterclass, where we are going to teach you how to create a plan to boost your sales and grow your business right now. You do not want to miss this. It's totally free. So Minna, where should they go?
Go to pivotandsell.com and you guys can get that free masterclass and get started on creating a plan to boost your sales right now.